The autumn wind is a league, holding the treasures ye may seek. Have some fun and play along, whether for a day or for a week. Seek advice from a sage, or battle straight up. Square off in a cage, or joust without a cup. It's a FanDuel. Is it your favorite you take, or make the logical play? Will your foes stand before you and quiver and quake, as you will be crowned prince for a day? The autumn wind may be a casual player, FanDueling just to talk trash. But there will be those that will play, that will be able to say, I've got my hands on some cold, hard cash.
Hello and welcome to Box Score's FanDuel Draft Day. I'm Brock here in Los Angeles from our very own Red Zone set. They are the Danettes hanging out in the Big Apple, of course, from DirecTV's Fantasy Zone Lounge. And week 3 of the weekly DanDuel Challenge is underway. Paulie, looking back on week 2, are there any shenanigans that went on in the man cave that you want to call out?
No, it actually cleaned up a little bit. I think everyone's pretty focused. McLovin had 2 teams week 1. For all I know, he had 7 teams week 2. But since he didn't win anything, none of us felt.
Well, here's what I did. Since I did so well in week 1, I went into the big multi-million-dollar contest.
I did too.
Yeah, I came in so low. It was unbelievable. It was so challenging.
But I wonder if someone ever accidentally wins, like someone who's kind of a novice at this. Because I put my entry this week, I matched it and put it into the big one where you could win, I think, $1 million or 100,000, maybe 100,000 for the winner. I was like, well, someone's got to get lucky one week. I mean, It can't just be, I know it's a skill game to a point, but eventually someone could get lucky. And, you know, why couldn't you win? It's not like buying a lottery ticket. You can't be an idiot and win this thing. But what if one of us won 100 grand? No, it's in this week.
Oh, it's in this? Oh, yeah, I'm doing multiple leagues. I've just got to tell you guys, like, there's my DanDuel league, which is still my
You're sharing your
point
gift.
of pride, but I put my same team into the big one every time.
It's anyone's game out there. All right, week 2 was one that some would call a closely contested matchup, others not so much. Seton came out on top with 107 points. He finished in 379th place in the whole league. The shocker, however, was the boss himself came in dead last amongst everyone in the man cave. McLovin, how much of an improvement is expected to be made by DP?
Well, I thought it'd be a huge bounce back week until I heard his team today.
Are you guys most curious about the fact that no one doctored things to make sure Dan didn't come in last? I think if anything goes to the credibility of FanDuel as a sponsor, is that Dan finished last week 2, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of other people who may have, to save the boss embarrassment, put him in 3rd.
But it's interesting, though. It says a lot about sort of fantasy football in that, you know, it's not like he made bad picks. Like, his team was good. He had really good players on it. They just didn't do it for him that day.
It's a player's fault, not his.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. Well, the pressure is on the man, Dan Patrick, to bounce back with a vengeance this week. However, if you had one of these players on your squad, there's a good chance you didn't finish last. It's time for Paulie's finger-licking good picking.
Well, it's very apt because I just ate a huge plate of wings and I can barely even move. Antonio Brown, I think he's probably the biggest sure thing in our game this entire year. I can't imagine, like for him, an off week would be 5 catches for 80 yards with no touchdowns. That would be an off week for a guy like him. He had 9 catches, 195, 2 touchdowns. I think he's one of those guys, if I was going to spend money every week, he would be my spend, where I don't think there's any chance he has a bad day, barring injury. I'm going to say the same thing about Ben Roethlisberger, especially with Le'Veon Bell back. I think it's going to open things up even more for Roethlisberger. He had, 300 yards, 2 TDs. I think they're going to be a 30-point a game team, and he's going to have at least 2 touchdowns every game. If you spend your money on him, I think you're guaranteed to get results. And then the other one, which this guy I love, but I don't know if I love him every week, is Larry Fitzgerald. 8 catches, 112 yards, a lot of fantasy points. People, I think, thought of him as like this guy that's over the hill and not a star anymore. Yeah. But with Carson Palmer back, it makes Larry Fitzgerald more of a sure thing.
Wee doggy, now that's some fine picking right there, but it's time for those who weren't good picking. Oh yeah, on to Fritzy's favorite segment ever, Fritzy's Bust of the Week.
My first bust belongs to Mike Evans, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people were looking forward to his debut, but it was a rough one. No catches, only 3 targets, a big 0 in the points column if you selected him. So bummed out about Mike Evans. The other one, Bengals running back Jeremy Hill. We were getting excited about him at the beginning of the year. Another guy people had high hopes for. 2 fumbles, costing him big time last week. And if you were like McLovin and had him on your squad, he got you less than
0.6 points he got?
Less than a point.
That's not good.
Not
That's
a
not
sexy
good.
pick for either of those guys for week 2. So Mike Evans, Jeremy Hill, better step it up in week 3. Didn't get it done in week 2.
That's from Fritzy.
Big bust. All right, on to the player that no one saw coming, the one whose star shined bright when it wasn't expected. It's time for Seton's Breakthrough Rockstar.
Travis Benjamin of the Browns. Come on down, man. That dude came out of nowhere, right? Only 3 catches, but they went for 115 yards, 2 TDs. Last week, he was awesome. I don't know if I have as much confidence in him this week to repeat said performance.
Wow, he's no Johnny.
Well, no Johnny. The magic of Johnny Manziel. I don't know if McCown quite has that. But last week, Travis Benjamin was the man.
Absolutely. Breakout performances indeed by those superstars. There was a quarterback who performed also better than expected on the gridiron. We turn to McLovin to break it all down. Here's McLovin's system-breaking QB.
All right. Every week and every year, I'm reminded the same thing. Losing a game badly is not necessarily a bad thing for especially a quarterback because they rack on the garbage points.
Right.
Colin Kaepernick last week threw for over 300, ran for over 50, a couple TDs. They got slaughtered in this game, but they had to pass. Same thing happened to Marcus Mariota, too. So Colin Kaepernick is my system-breaking QB. Huge week and a really bad loss to Steelers, which proves once and again, fantasy football, real football, 2 different things. Fritzy's fantasies, reality, 2 different things.
All right, solid breakdown there from the guys. Stick around and we'll see who they're putting their money on in week 3. But first, if I'm doing a fantasy truck draft, I'm taking the Ram 1500 EcoDiesel numero uno. This boy can climb a hill, haul a trailer, and crush any fantasy opponent. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. It's time to get ready for week 3, but first, the Danettes have a new challenge for this week. McLovin, tell us what it is.
Okay, so the Danettes had to pick a smart quarterback, and we're defining smart by a 30 or over on the Wonderlic. Paulie, is there a problem?
I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it till I make my picks. I'll show you why I'm upset.
All right, well, let me ask
and I gave a
Fritzy
list
here.
of quarterbacks.
Fritzy, how hard was it to find Wonderlic scores for quarterbacks?
It wasn't that hard. McLovin, to his credit, he did a lot of the research and found some numbers that we were able to crunch and kind of take a look at the list and see who we might be wanting to start based on that 30 or above ratio. My old pal Philip Rivers, I believe, was right on the line there at 30. Not that I was going to necessarily pick him anyway, but we had to make sure was it 30 and above or over 30 because Rivers was right on that line. But I got my guy. I'm all set.
All right, well, let's see who the Danettes are drafting. Let's start with the birthday boy. Paulie, you've been improving steadily as the weeks go by. Tell us who you have for week 3.
I'm going to go in reverse order. Falcons, Prater is my kicker, Ebron is my tight end. T.Y. Hilton, I think, is healthy and will be better. I don't expect him to be struggling again. Edelman, he's unstoppable. He's going to get you 80 and a touchdown. Larry Fitzgerald, I'm going to ride him out. Le'Veon Bell, pretty obvious, he's back. Probably a mistake, though. He probably is going to disappoint now that I think about it. Deion Lewis, I think they'll get another good week out of him. And then my quarterback, Carson Palmer. Now, let me explain something.
Wait a minute.
He got a 28 on his Wonderlic, but McLovin, you're being very C-ist. You're anti-C students with this new program, and I don't like it. There's a lot of quality people who aren't traditionally smart. Carson Palmer, me, Seton, many, many other C students around the country, state school people, keeping it real.
So if I, by the way, did this, Paulie would probably call the United States DA.
There'd be a federal investigation.
If you pick someone that was under 30,
Right.
Whereas Paulie clearly cheats, I'm fine with it. I like
Got no
Carson Palmer.
respect for the integrity of the game.
So we had to
Yeah.
go
The
through
rules
that.
are meant to be broken, and that's what C students do. I'm supporting Carson for being average in the classroom.
Can I ask you a question, a serious
disappointing.
question
Go
about
ahead.
your team? of which, by the way, is almost identical to mine.
And mine.
Is it a good idea or a bad idea to have your quarterback and wide receiver from the same team?
It's a big gamble. Like the other day, I did that week 1. I had Sam Bradford and Jordan Matthews. They connected on a touchdown that they didn't call a touchdown. All of a sudden, I would have had 12 more points in 1 second.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's more of like a monster upside. I'm trying to win money. I'm not trying to beat you guys. I'm trying to finish top 5.
Right.
And if Carson Palmer throws 2
It's
touchdowns
like you get double
to
the
Larry
points.
Fitzgerald, I'm in great shape.
Oh, see, because what I was gonna
The downside is huge.
I was gonna
I had the
take.
downside with Luck and Gore and Andre Johnson was a disaster for me against.
I
the
feel
Jets.
like the Patriots are gonna have a big day, so I did think about doing Tommy, Gronk, and Edelman.
Well, you'd think that if you pick a wide receiver from a team, you should pick the quarterback because he can't catch it from somebody
Right, he
else.
can't catch it from
if
someone else.
Like I picked Edelman, I didn't take Brady because he was too costly for me. But if you're taking Larry Fitzgerald and you don't take Carson Palmer, then what are you doing?
Right.
You can't believe in one without the
interesting.
other. It's almost inherently the pick.
Yeah.
Inherently, McLovin. That's a word
Inherently.
that C students can use.
Or
I
you-
don't know what it means. I know how to use it.
Or you spread your risk around.
Or inherently.
Yeah,
Inherently,
pejorative.
inherent vice.
Paul, you've been 0-4 on your defenses so far this year. At what point will you consider spending a little extra dough on a good D?
Yeah, that might be a good call, Brock. My strategy lately has been to spend as little as I can on defense, and it showed with my results.
All right. Well, McLovin, you didn't finish first this time, but I'm sure you have a squad that can get you all the way to the top. Tell us who you're taking week 3.
Oh, man. So I'm going to do like Paulie and go backwards. I took the lowest defense out there. I took the Chicago Bears at Seattle this Sunday. Now, it was just to save money because because my eyes got big at the running back. My theory is Seattle's defense is going to score like 7 touchdowns. So the Seattle offense will not have much of an opportunity to really score on Chicago. So
Interesting.
It was a way to save money. And I also saved money at kicker with big Kyle Brinza.
Kyle
the Buccaneers.
Renza, big dude.
I'm taking indoor kickers every week. That's my run. I'm going to ride Tyler Eifert at tight end. This is a classic. He did good last week. I'm going to pick him again. Dante Moncrief. I was like, this is the only guy who can catch and run with the Colts. Allen Robinson, huge week last week. We're going to ride that. And Larry Fitzgerald. Do we all have Larry Fitzgerald?
I have Larry Fitzgerald too.
Then, all right. Then I just
Why did we- it's
you know
because of
what?
Carson
I
Palmer.
said, it's Paulie's birthday. I'm going to invest in running back. Adrian Peterson and Jamal Charles at running back.
Whoa.
I've always wanted to try it. Now, I thought Peterson looked a little flawed last week, but we'll see. And then Tommy, touchdown. I'll be rooting for Seaton's Patriots this week.
Of course you will. Hey, McLovin, you got Tyler Eifert on your roster for the 3rd week in a row. How long are you going to ride that Eifert train?
Until he doesn't get a touchdown, then I'm off it. The guy who's that big young guy on the Chargers, Ladarius Green? I think he's a little nicked up. I'm looking strongly at him too. So maybe if Eifert fails, then Green is my next tight end.
All right. Well, we've got 2 lineups all set. And remember, if you want to play 1 week fantasy football against Dan in the Danettes, just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts. $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as the contest ends. That's FanDuel, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. Stick around. We're going to wrap up the draft with Fritzy and Seaton's lineups. We're back here on the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. Fritzy, you found yourself in 2nd place among the Danettes again. But what would you rather have happen moving forward? Finish in 2nd place every week this year, or finish in 1st place overall one time and then last amongst the Danettes the rest of the season?
Great question,
Wow.
Brock. Great question.
I would like to ultimately win outright 1 week, but if you can guarantee me 2nd place for the entire year, I think I would take that.
Why?
Is that disappointing?
Because, I would take it too, because why would you want to you're going to be first and then last every other week?
Yes.
No way. No way.
In gambling, when you in a game you want to win.
Yeah.
One.
But I think it's a more impressive accomplishment that every single week you were
You're
right.
like, ah,
near
man,
the
I was
top.
right there.
But
Instead of the one fluky time that you won.
But your account will be empty. The
I know,
goal
but
of
it,
this
but it showed, like Seaton saying, it shows that like you must know a little something that you're able to be that consistent towards the top.
You don't want a
every
week of greatness?
Not if it means the rest of the season is just totally.
2nd place is a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, see, to me, I'm fine being in 1,000 out of 1,000 if I could win 1 week.
Yeah.
Because that means I'll do well.
Ricky Bobby will tell you, second place is the first loser. You got to have a championship belt. All right, well, it's time to see if this group of all pros can lead you to the top of the leaderboard. Todd Fritz, who's on your squad?
All right, I got Tom Brady, quarterback against the Jaguars. I think he's going to have a big game. And after
You know what, Frizzy, you say out of every guy you drafted in
I
those
think he's
past
gonna
couple
have a
weeks,
big game.
you say, I think I'll have a
I
big
do
game.
say that.
Wouldn't we assume that by you picking him?
Probably, but you're also dealing with budgetary things. So
Okay,
you may have
just
to
checking.
pick some mediocre guys because you ran out of money
Okay.
that you may not necessarily want or love. After the luck disappointment, I was looking for a sure thing, and Brady against the Jaguars, I hope, is that sure thing. Marshawn Lynch and Danny Woodhead are my running backs. I jumped on the Woodhead train of Seton O'Connor. Marshawn Lynch, I'm expecting, hopefully, he'll do something strong against a weak Bears team. And after what Frank Gore did, which was basically nothing on Monday Night Football against the Jets, again, I was looking for something that I would hope would be a sure thing. Feeling really good about my wide receivers. Emmanuel Sanders, a little biased there Sunday night at Detroit. Steve Smith and Larry Fitzgerald were all on the jumping on the Larry Fitzgerald bus. Kobe Fleener, I don't know, but I was starting to run out of money. I'm hoping he'll do something decent at the Titans in the tight end position. Went biased again with Brandon McManus. He's been booming some huge 50-plus yard field goals, especially against Baltimore week 1. So my kicker is McManus Sunday night at the Lions. Going with the Bills defense after being humiliated.
Defense.
I think they're going to give Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins a tough time. They've got something to prove after getting destroyed against New England.
Fritzy, you've got 2 Broncos on your squad this week. Is that to make up for drafting 0 last week?
Not necessarily. I was just looking at the matchups, and I'm obviously excited about the big Sunday night Bronco-Lion game with Denver, chance to go 3-0. And I like McManus. It fit my budget. And Emmanuel Sanders, it's my son's favorite player, and I think he's going to be a big target.
Is he on the bar mitzvah
in
video?
Detroit. He is not.
Oh.
I don't think I didn't try. But we
You
love
know
him
what?
anyway.
Actually, that could be our challenge next week: is draft a quarterback from Fritzy's bar mitzvah.
That'll be easy, most of them. Most of them.
I wish you
Oh,
would.
maybe that one's too easy.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my. I'm feeling. I think I got another second place finish right here.
Great.
All right. Seton was at the top. Was the top dog in the man cave last week. Time to see if he can continue the ride, the wave of success with this group of guys. Your lineup, please, sir.
I feel like actually you've already read my team 3 times so far, so I might as well just go down it again. Quarterback, I've got Tommy Brady. Love him at home against Jacksonville. I've got Le'Veon Bell and Danny Woodhead as my running backs. A.J. Green, this little Q next to his picture is making me real nervous that he's questionable. I'm not really sure why I took him, so that kind of stinks. I took Michael Crabtree. Because I think that he could have a day against the Browns. Larry Fitzgerald, I clearly took just like everybody else because we had Carson Palmer on this week. I've also got Eric Ebron, which was sort of a value pick there. I've got McManus and Finster as my kicker. And I believe that the Seahawks are going to absolutely dominate the Bears at home. And that's my defense. Although this is the second time I've taken this Seahawks defense. And the first time they did me no favors whatsoever.
Mr. McManus.
So I'm hoping that this time they do me right.
Good match.
Now, Seton, if you could have a do-over on A.J. Green, who would you put in his place?
I don't know. I've only got $8,100 to put there.
You can't get Julio. You
So I
can't get
can't get-
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Edelman?
man. I really like the Patriots this week. Yeah, Edelman, I don't know how much he costs.
I think you can get him
but
for that cost.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet. All right, Mr. McManus, the usual suspects. Don't go away. There's one lineup left to reveal, and that's DPs. But first, we're going to take a break to remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. Guts, glory, Ram. We're closing up shop here on the Box Score FanDuel Draft Day. And don't forget that's right, you can take on Dan and the Danettes in weekly fantasy football. Just go to fanduel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts, $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as contest ends. Now, it's no secret that Dan finished last in the Man Cave week 2, but you gotta wonder, Seton, how much of this is DP just trying to pull the wool over our eyes?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little surprised by his slow start, but I think it's just sort of the luck of the draw. I don't think he's really doing anything deliberately. I think it's just sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they
The ball
say.
bounces.
Cookies delicious. All right, well, let's find out who the boss is going with this week as we bring you his lineup today in the form of Boss's Thoughts.
This is the magic ticket right here. I went with Andrew Luck as my quarterback. Le'Veon Bell is back. Johnson with Arizona, I like the rookie. Antonio Brown going against St. Louis. Moncrief with Indianapolis. Benjamin with Cleveland. Eifert, the Bengals tight end that everybody loves now. Robbie Gould, Chicago and Seattle. Guessing they won't be scoring a lot of touchdowns, maybe some field goals there. And then I'm going to go with the Ravens defense at home against Cincinnati. So that's it. That's the magic ticket right there. Read them and weep. Yeah.
Sometimes I watch Dan whilst he's picking his team, and it looks like he's just learning about it for the first time. Like his confidence is faux. Like I didn't feel like the great Dan Pat. Dan usually goes eat it or something like that, but he doesn't seem confident. Which in this game, you can't really throw a week here. You're not trying to sneak up on anybody. You're trying to win every
Or
week.
is he doing the downplaying? Like he
He's
knows he's got the
downplaying
bigger-
it, so he's like, you know what? I'm not really taking it that seriously, so that when he finishes in last, he can't be like,
Right.
oh man,
Right.
I thought that.
Or
I
he could
was
say,
really
he could say, I did that good with not even putting that much thought into it. Imagine
Yeah.
how much I can destroy you guys if I
But
really
see,
worked
is
hard
anyone
on it.
proud that they didn't put any thought into something? Like, are you like, hey, I just picked out of a hat? Could
Yeah.
you pick the most affordable guy and beat your what if you just went, you started with the defense and then you just went most affordable guy? What if you could beat yourself by doing that? I wonder if you could do that as an experiment.
Hey, Fritzy, before we go, tell us real quick which Danette comes out on top after week 3.
This is gonna be very unlike my nature, but I'm gonna say that I am going to edge out Seton. Boom! After he edged me out by like hundredths of a point.
A lot of edging.
We're gonna turn the tables and
He's not going to beat him by a lot. He would never do that.
I'm gonna just slightly be ahead of
Trash
Seton.
talk right there.
You're going to win first place in a polite manner.
Very politely. Very politely.
We all tried our hardest.
Little edge over Seton.
Nothing wrong with second place.
Yeah, he's going to edge it. Yeah, just grinding it out. All right, well, it's time for me to pick which Danette I think is going to come out on top. And I'm going to go with Fritzy because he has McManus, and I love the usual suspects. All right, Fritzy, tell us who's on Dan Patrick tomorrow.
Tony Dungy will join us tomorrow off of the Redskins-Giants Thursday night game, and we'll preview the rest of Week 3. And we'll also be joined by Rick Sutcliffe, ESPN Major League Baseball analyst, with a week left in the regular season and looking ahead to postseason matchups.
Fantastic. All right, thanks for watching the Box Score FanDuel Draft Show. You can watch the Danettes make their selections every Thursday right here on Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or via the podcast, iTunes or podcast1.com.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the Box Score. Holy cow!